Did you know that some of the world's most important inventions, things we use every single day, actually came from Africa? From the foundations of mathematics, to life-saving surgeries, to the cup of coffee you sip every morning, Africa has given the world more than history books care to admit. Today we'll uncover 10 inventions you didn't know came from Africa, and by the end, you'll see Africa in a completely different light. When you think of math, your mind might jump to Greece or Europe. But the roots of mathematics trace back thousands of years to Africa. In ancient Egypt, people developed geometry to measure land after the Nile's floods, and arithmetic to calculate taxes and build monuments. Without African math, the pyramids of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the world, would not exist. Next time you solve an equation, remember, it was Africa that gave the world its first formulas. Long before Harvard, Oxford, or Cambridge, there was Timbuktu. In the 12th century, the city of Timbuktu in Mali was home to the University of Sankore, one of the earliest universities in the world. It attracted scholars from across Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe. At its peak, over 25,000 students studied astronomy, medicine, law, and philosophy. The most amazing part? Before we dive deeper, kindly comment, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more untold Black stories. Thousands of manuscripts from Timbuktu still exist today, proving that Africa was once the intellectual capital of the world. Imagine this. Over 4,000 years ago, Egyptian doctors were already performing surgeries we still use today. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, an ancient medical text, describes detailed operations for head injuries, fractures, and even dental problems. They used antiseptics, sutures, and surgical tools, centuries before modern medicine. One French scholar who studied the papyrus said, "This is not superstition. This is science." Your morning routine wouldn't be the same without Africa. Coffee was discovered in Ethiopia when a goat herder named Kaldi noticed his goats dancing energetically after eating red coffee berries. Monks then began brewing it into a drink that kept them awake during long prayers. From Ethiopia, coffee spread to the Middle East, then to Europe, and today billions of people can't start their day without it. So next time you sip your latte, remember, it's Africa that gave the world its favorite drink. Africa is often wrongly portrayed as without writing. The truth? Africa developed its own writing systems long before colonization. Guizi in Ethiopia is still used in churches today. Tifinagh is the script of the Tuareg people in North Africa. Nsibidi, an ideographic writing system from southeastern Nigeria, is used for laws, storytelling, and secret societies. These systems prove Africa wasn't just oral, it was literate, organized, and advanced. Africa's architectural genius is written in stone. The pyramids of Egypt, still one of the greatest engineering marvels in history. The Great Zimbabwe Stone City, built without mortar, yet still standing after 900 years. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela in Ethiopia, massive cathedrals carved out of solid rock, a feat modern engineers would struggle to replicate. Every stone whispers a story. Africa built civilizations that could rival any empire in history. How did African civilizations understand the stars so well? The Dogon people of Mali knew about the orbit of Sirius B, a star invisible to the naked eye, centuries before telescopes were invented. Their astronomical knowledge guided farming, navigation, and spiritual life. This shows Africa wasn't just land, it was the birthplace of cosmic wisdom. The Nok civilization of West Africa pioneered iron smelting as early as 1500 BCE, creating tools, weapons, and sculptures long before Europe's Iron Age. Their terracotta statues are some of the most beautiful in the world. This innovation transformed farming and defense, proving once again that Africa was an epicenter of progress. Living in deserts and savannas taught Africans to master water. The Nubians invented the Qanat system, an underground water channel that delivered irrigation to crops and drinking water to villages. This invention was so effective that later civilizations, Persia, Rome, and beyond, borrowed and adapted it. What's music without Africa? The banjo, an instrument often linked to American folk music, traces back to African string instruments brought over by enslaved Africans. Drums, harps, and flutes all had African origins that spread worldwide. In fact, much of today's global music, jazz, blues, reggae, hip-hop, has deep African roots. So, the next time someone says Africa contributed little to the world, remember these 10 inventions that changed humanity forever. But here's the thing, this is only half the story. Because Africa's brilliance didn't end in the ancient world. In modern times, African inventors and innovators are still shaping technology, science, and culture in ways you may never have imagined. Join me in part 2 as we uncover the modern African inventions that continue to change the world. From cutting-edge medical breakthroughs to life-saving apps, to revolutionary scientific discoveries, you don't want to miss this. If this opened your eyes, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to know the truth about Africa's genius. But Africa's story doesn't end in the past. Today, a new generation of African innovators is reshaping the future. These are the modern inventions you didn't know came from Africa, and trust me, some of them will blow your mind. Let's start with one of the most groundbreaking medical moments in history. In 1967, Dr. Christiaan Barnard from South Africa performed the world's first successful human heart transplant. This procedure saved countless lives and transformed modern medicine forever. Without Africa, the very idea of transplant surgery might have come decades later. Imagine living in a country where banks are scarce, but everyone has a phone. That's Kenya in the early 2000s. In 2007, Kenya launched M-Pesa, a mobile money system that allowed people to send and receive money using basic cell phones. Today, millions of people across Africa use mobile money daily. This African innovation has inspired financial systems around the world, including Apple Pay and Google Pay. For many disabled people in Africa, prosthetics were expensive and almost impossible to get. That's when innovators in Tanzania began using 3D printing technology to create affordable, custom prosthetics for children. This not only gave kids the ability to walk, play, and live normal lives, but it also positioned Africa as a leader in medical innovation. In rural Africa, patients with heart conditions often have limited access to cardiologists. But one young Cameroonian engineer, Arthur Zong, changed that. He invented the CardioPad, a touchscreen tablet that allows doctors in remote villages to send heart test results to specialists in the city. For the first time, millions of patients could access world-class healthcare without leaving their communities. Here's one you may never have guessed. The CAT scan used in hospitals worldwide to detect diseases, cancers, and brain injuries was co-invented by South African physicist Alan Cormack, who later won the Nobel Prize. So, the next time you see a CT scan image, it's thanks to African science. Traffic jams and accidents are a big problem in African cities. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, engineers designed robotic traffic police, solar-powered machines that control traffic, record violations, and even wave their arms to guide cars. This invention has been so effective that other countries are considering adopting it. In 2016, Rwanda became the first country in the world to use drones to deliver blood and medical supplies to remote villages. What takes hours by road can now take minutes by air. This life-saving innovation has been copied by countries across the globe, from the US to Switzerland. Malaria kills hundreds of thousands in Africa each year. But two students from Burkina Faso invented a special soap made with mosquito-repelling herbs. By simply bathing, people could protect themselves from mosquito bites and reduce malaria infections. Sometimes, the simplest solutions save the most lives. Yes, Africa is reaching for the stars, literally. Nigeria launched satellites that provide internet and weather tracking. South Africa is building one of the world's largest radio telescopes. Egypt is investing in advanced space technology to monitor agriculture and security. The world often underestimates Africa, but the continent is proving it belongs in the global space race. When violence erupted in Kenya after the 2008 elections, a group of young developers built Ushahidi, a platform that maps crisis reports using crowdsourced data. Since then, Ushahidi has been used worldwide, from earthquake relief in Haiti to tracking COVID-19 cases. Born out of necessity, this African innovation is now saving lives across continents. So now you know, Africa is not just the cradle of humanity, it's the cradle of innovation. From the pyramids of Egypt to heart transplants to space technology, Africa's ideas have shaped the world we live in. But here's the real lesson. So many of these stories remain hidden, buried under stereotypes and forgotten in history books. And yet, Africa continues to build, invent, and inspire. The next time someone asks you what Africa has given the world, tell them this. Africa has given us life, knowledge, technology, and hope. And its story is far from over. This is why we created this channel, to uncover the untold stories that textbooks left behind. If you believe Africa's genius deserves to be known, hit the like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening stories.